What's going on? Welcome to the 2021 edition of the Off the Schneid preview series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their roster, schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Don't forget to check the description for links for the Off the Schneid social media and interact with me directly. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com, as all roster and depth chart graphics are straight off their site. If you've never been, go check them out immediately. I use their site for all NFL, fantasy, and betting purposes, and there's a link in the description for their site. Again, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button, but enough of that, let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. Taking a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reigning Super Bowl champs, the best team in the world. We'll start at the quarterback position like we do every single time. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that ever played the game, and that's just what it is. If you can't admit that to yourself, then there's just something wrong with you, I suppose. I don't know. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, if there's a lot of haters out there, and it is what it is. He's the greatest quarterback that's ever picked up a football. And that's that. I just don't want to hear any slander from anyone, from anywhere. That's that. So moving on, Blaine Gabbert might be the number 2 quarterback, and then you just have Kyle Trask learning. Like, realistically, it doesn't really matter because Kyle Trask is going to play anyways. It really doesn't matter. You can just have him, on the practice squad and just on the sidelines on game day type of thing, learning, listening, learning, watching. He's not going to play, period. So even if something should happen to Tom Brady, I do think that Blaine Gabbert probably is going to be the guy that comes in and plays. I just think that there's really no point in throwing Kyle Trask out there at all. I absolutely love that draft pick. I was tinkering with the idea of having them select him in their first round. It just makes tons of sense. It's a great spot for him to land. It makes sense for them. It was just a great pick. It was just a great pick. He is a local guy, all kinds of stuff. It just made tons of sense to grab Kyle Trask as the quarterback of the future, kind of heir apparent, obviously. Maybe 2 years. I don't know how much longer Tom Brady is realistically going to be able to do it. Right now, I'm not concerned whatsoever, but yeah, just love the pick. Love the pick for Kyle Trask. We'll move to the super stacked and crowded running back room there. Rojo is still kind of, I still view Ronald Jones as the first running option in this offense. He did receive the most carries last year. I do see that continuing. I think that might peel back. 192 carries last year. Leonard Fournette had only 97. They both missed a couple games, but I could potentially see the carries come down for Ronald Jones. But I definitely still think that he leads this team. Keyshawn Vaughn, probably is going to get a couple more carries. Even Fournette might get a couple more carries. Giovanni Bernard is there. They did bring in CJ Prosise. I'm not really concerned with that, and he's more of a pass catching back anyways. But you got a 4-headed backfield there, and you're going to want to just roll with the fresh guy and keep defenses on their toes. All of these guys can do basically anything. Even Ronald Jones can catch the ball as well. I'm not going to say that he's the best pass catcher on this team, but he did have 28 receptions. Leonard Fournette only had 36. I do think that Gio Bernard gobbles up some of those receptions, but we'll see. Like, realistically, it's just it's honestly a backfield to stay away from in fantasy. In best ball, you might be able to throw some darts later on, but in a season-long redraft type of thing, I'm not looking at any of these running backs. It's just too crowded. It is what it is. We'll move to the tight end spot. Rob Gronkowski is obviously probably going to get the lion's share of the receptions. He's going to get tons of playing time. Cameron Brate's still there, and OJ Howard comes back from an Achilles tear, I believe. Played 2-3 games last year before he's suffering that injury. I can't remember exactly, but either way, he's back in the room. and they're stacked. Like, they're stacked. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are absolutely stacked everywhere. They realistically could have just had zero draft capital whatsoever and just waltzed back into this season and still been, one of two favorites to win the Super Bowl again this year. I think there's a very real possibility that the same two teams are in the Super Bowl. I personally see a different outcome, but either way, they're just stacked. And I just can't say anything more about the Bucs. They're stacked. Go to wide receivers. Absolutely jam-packed, stacked with talent. Realistically, they have like too much talent. They have 7 wide receivers that should make this team. And do you roll with 7 wide receivers? I don't know if you can even find the space, to be honest, on the roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mike Evans is, to me, one of the most criminally underrated players in football and at the wide receiver position, mostly because of his somewhat capped fantasy potential and ceiling. His floor is extremely high, but his ceiling is getting smaller by the year, realistically. Chris Godwin comes back on a franchise tag. He might be going after this season. He might be gone. We'll see. Antonio Brown comes back on a, I think, 2-year deal off the top of my head. So that's going to hinder it a little bit for now. If Chris Godwin's off this team, I think Mike Evans is head and shoulders like next season. If next season Chris Godwin's gone, and even if Antonio Brown's still there, Justin Watson, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Jalen Durden, they're all still there. Darden, are all still there, obviously. Mike Evans is then for sure the top wide receiver on this team, and maybe gets back to some of those top ceiling type of seasons. But either way, 7 straight seasons with 1,000 yards. I think he's like one of 2 guys to do that in their career. Put some respect on the guy's name, please. The guy is an absolute beast. Obviously, again, has much more real life football value than fantasy. So, I mean, take that for what you will, I suppose. I'm a huge Mike Evans guy personally. Offensive line is obviously in a great spot. They were top 5 in sacks allowed last year. It's no secret for me. That is how you win in the NFL right now. They were top 3, actually. That's how you win in the NFL right now. Protect your quarterback, get after the opponents. And the Buccaneers do an absolutely fantastic job of that. Bring back everybody on the offensive line. Draft Robert Hainsey, who comes in and is just basically a swing guy. There's not a ton of depth here. That's my only tiny concern, and it was last year too with this team, is their offensive line depth. Hainsey helps, and if they stay healthy, then you're not concerned whatsoever. And realistically, even if there is 1 or 2 injuries on this offensive line, I'm sure they'll be able to make do. I'm very, very sure they'll be able to make do with what they have, because the rest of the line is very talented. And then as long as they play together, plus their tight ends are very good blockers as well. Gronk and Brate's not horrible. So I don't anticipate that being a huge issue, even if there is an injury. Talk about the coaching staff quickly. I very much think that regardless of outcome this year, this will be the last year that this coaching staff is intact. By that, I mean Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator, and Todd Bowles as the defensive coordinator. I do think that there's a very good chance that Byron Leftwich is still there as the OC with Bruce Arians. But I think that this is the last year for Todd Bowles on this team. He's obviously 100% not getting fired. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he deserves another shot to be a head coach in the NFL. And I think that opportunity is going to come at the end of this season. I'll call my shot right now and say that I think that Todd Bowles is the head coach of the Chicago Bears next season. I think that Pace and Nagy are doing what they can to not get fired. I think that team is going to be bad enough that the fans are going to demand a change. You got to do it. It makes tons of sense for Todd Bowles to go to a team like the Bears. It's just, I think it's a match made in heaven, and that's what I'm calling. I'm calling my shot right now. So speaking of Todd Bowles, we'll move to his defense, which was absolutely phenomenal, especially in that Super Bowl. They were so good. I got a couple gripes, not with this defense, but I'll get there. We'll start at the line, and I'll say it right now. This is another thing for me with building an NFL team. I'll take quarterback out of this conversation completely, because that's a completely different conversation and a completely different story. The rest of the team, when you're building an NFL team, how I would do it and how I think teams should do it and how a lot of winning teams are doing it, start at your lines and move back. Offense and defensive line, and work your way back. You'll find talent, but those are the priorities for me. And the proof is in the pudding right now. Look at the top 10 in sacks allowed and top 10 in sacks for these teams, and you'll see a lot of similarities there. So, and this team's done a fantastic job of it. Vita Vea is one of the best nose tackles, if not the best nose tackle in the game right now. Ndamukong Suh can still get it done. He's definitely getting older, but he can absolutely still get the job done. Savvy vet. William Golson is still very good as well. Another vet, can still absolutely get the job done. Shaq Barrett's officially, staying here. He was on a franchise tag last year, signed a contract. He's here to stay. Jason Pierre-Paul can still definitely get the job done. He's getting a little bit older. Obviously, they addressed that with their first round pick in Joe Tryon, which is a fantastic fit. I thought that was a very, very good draft pick. Like I said, I was toiling with Kyle Trask there. I did end up, or maybe it was a corner. I can't remember who I had them drafting, but Joe Tryon's a fantastic get there. Their linebackers, here's my gripe. Their linebackers are phenomenal. Levante David is still one of the better linebackers in the game at 31 years old. There's a 3-letter acronym website out there that has Devin White as their 25th overall linebacker in the NFL heading into 2021. That's crazy. That is crazy. Dude had 9 sacks last year, 140 total tackles. Like, I get that he might not be the number one guy in pass coverage. I get that. Is that really a problem with this defense? Is that really an issue where he's, when I saw that, I almost fell off my chair, and that's some serious disrespect, in my opinion. For me, Devin White's top 3, no question, in the league right now. Absolutely. If not number 1. He's right up there. He's a very, very, very good linebacker. He had 2 games last year with 3 sacks. Where do you get that from your middle linebacker? Where else do you get that in the league? Jerome Baker had 7. That was a very, very good season for him. If you have 5 as an inside linebacker in the NFL, that's a very good season. He had 9, like second on the team in sacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, that's my gripe. So the Devin White disrespect from, again, a 3-letter acronym website out there, unbelievable. Kevin Minter, still a solid, depth guy. Savvy vet, can still get the job done. KJ Britt, I thought it was a phenomenal draft pick by them. That was a great get in the 5th round. Way too late for him, in my opinion. And Grant Stewart was really good in the Senior Bowl. If you watched it, very, very good. Mr. Irrelevant, although I think he definitely makes this team, plays a lot on special teams. I don't think he'll really see the field, on defense. Kevin Minter and KJ Britt will be the guy if anything should happen there. But I think he makes his team and plays a ton on special teams. And, I think he might be able to have himself a pretty good career just as a special teamer. So there you go. Carlton Davis, I was concerned last year with this team's secondary, not because, and I should clarify that. I was only concerned because it's unknown. We just didn't know. They needed to play. They were just very, very young, and they still are very young. And they played fantastic. They absolutely passed the test. Not only, and I think I said, you need one of these guys. You're hoping one of these guys, steps up and is that guy, and realistically, all 3 of the guys, Sean Murphy Bunting, Jameel Dean, and Carlton Davis, all passed the test of flying colors, in my opinion. And then you throw in Antoine Winfield, who was a rookie last year, who was fantastic. Jordan Whitehead plays well. Mike Edwards is still there. This is just a phenomenal defense, front to back, flip it over, back to front, whatever you want to call it. This is a fantastic defense, and they play very good team defense as well. They're very good individually. They're very good together. Fantastic. There's lots to like here. So there you go. I guess that's it for the team breakdown. Went a little longer than I wanted to there, so we'll go over and check out their prediction for their record and go through the schedule. All right, there you have it. Low, high, my. I think that there's a very, very good potential that they're back in the Super Bowl. Like I said, I think they absolutely run away with this division this year. I don't particularly think it's going to be close at all. I did pick the Saints to win the division last year. Won that bet. I thought that was, it made sense then. I thought that they were going to win the division. There you go. I just thought they were going to win it. They did. Here we are. Now I caught some heat for that. I caught some heat for picking the Saints. It is what it is. Like, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. If you're afraid to be right, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Like the motto says. But I very much think that it's not even particularly close. I think the Buccaneers absolutely win this division, and it's not even going to be close. So that 1.66 on your money is one of the safer bets, of the year. I think it's very, very, it's not even close. And the odds basically say that as well. Realistically, I think that the Chiefs are like 1.35, and I think you can make a case that they should be, even more of a favorite, if I'm being honest. I think there's potential that they, Tom Brady very much wants to go undefeated. Do I think that happens? I don't quite think that happens, but the potential is there. Absolutely, the potential's there. 16-1 on the high side. Let's start. I'm guessing, 14-3 is where we're at. Obviously, you can see it on your screen there. But let's blow through the schedule fairly quickly, because I don't want this to be this episode to be too long. At home against the Dallas Cowboys, open the season, Super Bowl champs, at home, fans are in the stands. It's gonna be like a fairly tough game, I suppose, but the defenses aren't even close. I think that they're not even in the same conversation as far as defense is concerned. So I think the Bucs absolutely get this win. At home against Atlanta, they stomp Atlanta. At home and away, they get that win. On the road against the Rams, that's actually a tough game, very winnable. It's very, very winnable, but I think that that's a fairly tough game. I'm not saying they can't win it. Obviously, look at my record prediction here, but that's a tough game. On the road against the Patriots, it's similar to the Cowboys game, only opposite. The offense is extremely better for the Bucs. It's a revenge game for Tom Brady. The defenses are comparable, absolutely. They're very, very comparable. I do think that, I don't know, it's super, super close. Depends on what happens with Stephon Gilmore, but very much a winnable game. And I think that the Bucs do get that win because their offense is extremely better than the Patriots. At home against the Miami Dolphins, I think they absolutely get that win. On the road against the Philadelphia Eagles, they absolutely get that win. At home against the Bears, they absolutely get that win. Like, they're going to be a very good team and a very tough out. On the road against New Orleans, I think that I think they sweep the entire division. I think they go 6-0. So I think they get that win against New Orleans. Out of the bye, that's a tough game against Washington just because their defenses are very comparable as well. The football team has a very good defense. Again, offenses are just not there, right? Like, the Bucs offense is a much better than the football team. So they get that win. At home against the Giants, they get that win. On the road against the Colts, the Colts are going to be a better team, but I think that all around, it's not particularly close, that the Bucs are the better team, and they should be able to get that win. On the road against the Falcons, they get that win. At home against the Bills, tough game. So, like, realistically, their only losses are going to be fringe games. Like, I don't see, they're never going to get blown out. They're all fringe games, and the only games that I could potentially see them losing, Buffalo and the Rams. Like, I'm going 14-3 to be relatively conservative here, because I'm not going to just say they lose 0 games or something. I can't really say that. 16-1 on the high side. So there you go. If they split those 2 games and win every other game, they're going to be maybe the best team in football. On the road against Falcons, yeah, they get that win. Bills, that's a tough game, but that'll decide where they fit on the low, high, my. I think if they end up on the low side, that's almost a disaster of a season. And they still make the playoffs, and they still probably win the division with that record. And that's a bit of a disaster. So there you go. At home against the Saints, they get that win. They sweep the Carolina Panthers, and they absolutely pummel the Jets. So, yeah, like it's gonna be a good season for the Bucs. It's gonna be, a bit of a victory lap, especially at the end of the season. They're gonna be able to sit some guys. I would be willing to bet money that they can sit some guys in week 18 against the Panthers. So there you go. I don't want to take up too much more of your time talking about the best team in football. They're right there with the Chiefs. The Chiefs and the Bucs are the 2 best teams. Again, I called it months ago. As soon as they traded for Orlando Brown, I said the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. I think it's very good potential that the Bucs they absolutely can repeat. I think there's a very good potential that they face each other again. But I just think with what the Chiefs did on the offensive line is going to put them over the edge. Chiefs win the Super Bowl. I think it's easy to pick the Bucs to go there as well. We'll see what happens. There you go. There's your breakdown. Let me know what you think in the comments. I took some heat last year for the Bucs video. Hopefully Bucs fans are a little more happy with me this year. We'll see. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. There's your breakdown for the 2021 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.